Alrighty, inaugural video for Plainly Difficult. They will be making his first appearance on the channel here. You know, shouts out Plainly Difficult. You already know I have to give my man the sub button, and let's actually give this man a like before the video even starts. Let's add to that tasty 123k right there. And 6 million views. Video's a little bit old, but we're gonna do it anyway, right? Because I mean, shit, fuck it. This popped up on my recommended. You know, if you guys want to recommend some videos to me, keep it, you know, around the topic of learning some cool stuff, right? Hopefully. I mean, I could do other videos too. Doesn't really matter. I'm not really just sticking by one thing. I mean, I do have like a sort of I do throw a random video here and there, but let's not make the intro too long, man. If you guys do go on to enjoy the video. I don't know if I should say this more at the start, because I do, you know, people do say, like, recommend that people, you know, when it comes to, like, social media, people save your stuff, they leave a like, they comment, and you should probably do that, right? And if I leave it all the way at the end, I don't know how many people are making it to the end of my 25-minute videos, and I don't blame you, because, I mean, I don't know if I would. I mean, sometimes people just got shit to do. It's not like I don't believe in my own content. It's not like I don't think that it's good content. I mean, of course, it's just, you know, it's reaction videos, right? But, I mean, I try to give a lot of me here, right? I try to do as much as I can, knowing that, you know, it is just a reaction video after all. I'm not, like, putting in the crazy work that this man Plainly Difficult must surely be doing in making these videos, right? But I do want to enjoy this, and, you know, let's, like, you know, we watching this together, right? Let's be the core theme of every one of my videos. Just, let's watch this together. Maybe hear me out while I say shit that I know nothing about, usually, right? Well, maybe not nothing, but I'm not an expert. And, okay, no more than 2 minutes. Let's go. A brief history of the Demon Core. A short 10-minute documentary. Let's go. Okay, let me try to focus up here. I think this is about some bomb. Some bomb. I think that's all. This is all I should know. I should let you know I don't know shit about what I'm going to watch right now. So I'm just going to be on the lookout. The Demon Core. Okay, nice little intro.
This seemingly harmless ball, for the uninitiated, looks like any old piece of metal. A cannonball or a small wrecking ball, maybe.
Let me guess, it's just
but
not
if you
any
had the
metal.
misfortune to handle this incorrectly, you would most certainly have a painful and horrible death.
Oh.
Sadly, 2 people had such an experience, and more would die prematurely of cancer over subsequent decades. And arguably, the 2 incidents showed how you can't take for granted a material with the potential of going supercritical at the drop of a hat. Unsurprisingly, the item in question would gain the name the Demon Core. But what was this innocuous looking item? This subject has been covered before by someone I know, but I found this story really interesting and I had to do a video about it. I've included the link in the video description if you'd like to check it out once you finish watching this video. Like many of my Atomic videos, our story starts during the Second World War.
These are the inflatables. I think I do know about these. These are the fakes, right? they put out fake vehicles just because they didn't want to manufacture all of them. Like they just wanted to make it seem like they had a crazy artillery, so they just started making fakes, just to spook the enemy, right? Just to fake them out. Yeah, these are like inflatable tanks and like inflatable cars and shit. You'd see them like getting rolled over by like wind and shit or some other stuff, like shots. This is so stupid, bro. But I mean, shit, if it works, it works.
And the Manhattan Project. The Demon Core, or Rufus, as it was originally nicknamed,
Rufus
was intended to be used in a third atomic bomb to be dropped on Japan. A weapon that was never needed.
They wanted to drop 3? Well, I do know that. I mean, why didn't they drop 3 again? Shit, my American history is kind of bad.
On the 15th of August, Japan surrendered after 2 atomic bombs being detonated
Because
over Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The core was similar to the one used in the Fat Man bomb dropped on Nagasaki, consisting of 3 pieces. 2 plutonium-gallium hemispheres separated by a ring. The plutonium core was refined and hot-pressed into its ominous spherical shape at Hanford and shipped to the Los Alamos laboratory for preparation for use in an implosion-type bomb. Once assembled, it was designed to be 5% below critical mass, leaving the core somewhat safe. However,
so what's critical mass? Might be sort of self-explanatory. It should be pretty unstable, maybe, if it hits critical mass.
The 5% was to ensure that when needed, it could be used to make a very large explosion easily. But one deadly side effect was that this left very little margin for error. You see, once the core went critical, it would be in a perfect state of equilibrium. No increase or decrease in power. However, one in many different factors could send the core into supercriticality, creating and sustaining a chain reaction, until it either settles at a new criticality level and increase power, or explode. Needless to say, both outcomes would be a bit of a bad thing. The scientists at the Manhattan Project found themselves with this surplus piece of weapons-grade material, and they did what most scientists would do: study and push the boundaries. However, some of the experiments were outright reckless, and this leads us to the core's first victim. Harry Daghlian, a 24-year-old physicist from New London, Connecticut, was working on the core on the 21st of August 1945. Daghlian had...
I don't think any humans, should ever have to do this kind of work. Really playing with these things? I mean, I'm sure he didn't say, let's get a screwdriver. But, motherfuckers really shouldn't be anywhere near any sort of proximity to this stuff. And that's pretty, it's common knowledge now. It's just, you really do hate to see how stupid and how, uninformed we were, I mean, I remember watching the podcast with Joe Rogan where he showed videos of motherfuckers in the U.S. when they started doing those first atomic drop tests, where they'd have people... They had these guys in trenches. They had some soldiers in trenches, and they fucking dropped an atomic bomb a mile away. And then when they did, you could see their hats be flying off. You see all the dust and the waves and shit coming out and be right above their fucking heads. And then after all that shit happened, they literally run towards the bomb. They run towards it with their guns out and shit. Yeah, let's get them, boys. And then and he's just laughing because it's so stupid. All the motherfuckers died for sure. They gotta have some type of cancer shit. And there's even another video where motherfuckers were standing underneath the bomb. They detonated the bomb up in the sky, and they were just standing right below it. It was just a guy. There was a guy that was smoking. So clearly he didn't give a fuck about his cancer shit. He didn't give a fuck about his health at all. He didn't give two fucks. Man's is smoking this man on the left right here. Man's is just there casually happily smoke, chain smoke these. He was as there's an atomic bomb going off right above him, bro. It's fucking so stupid.
Been on the staff of the Manhattan Project since 1944, joining while still a graduate student. On the fateful day, Daghlian was making a neutron reflector around the core of tungsten carbide. A neutron reflector, funnily enough, is designed to reflect neutrons back into a subcritical mass, making the material critical. It can also increase nuclear fission a critical mass is capable of. The neutron reflector experiment was being performed alone,
a lot of science.
Apart from Private Robert J. Hemley, who was sat behind a desk 4 meters away on guard duty. Whilst undertaking the experiment, Daghlian noticed that the addition of a final tungsten brick would render the core supercritical. He withdrew the brick with his hand, in doing so accidentally dropping it onto the pile. This was all that was needed for the core to go prompt critical. Immediately he tried to remove the brick by knocking it off and was unsuccessful. Instead, he quickly disassembled the pile, but by this time he had absorbed 510 REM of neutron radiation. His fate was sealed. He received intensive care but would fall into a coma and
510 REM. Should I search that up really quick? Am I gonna get a quick response? 510 610? Am I blind? I swear I hit 510 area code. Man, get the fuck out of here. REM. That what he said? Wait, or is it just RM? No, REM. 510 REM. Remington 510 shotgun. Motherfucker's gonna be all over me for making this search. They gonna think that I'm trying to buy something. Man, I'm gonna get all I know is it's a lethal dosage. That's what it said. It said his fate was sealed, so he was done for.
He received intensive care but would fall into a coma and pass away 25 days after the incident. The first known death linked to a criticality accident. His hand shown here had the skin burned off from the event. Dagling's body was transported back and shown here had the skin burned off from the event.
This what happened when he tried to quickly... Wait, what is that a cast? There's a cast, there's something here. What is that? There's something on his hand, right? Or is that just his skin? What is that? Look at the peeling right there. What the fuck? What is that? There's something, gotta be something on his hand, right? They did something. What is this? What is this? What is this big ass rock looking thing? What is that? That would have what came out of him trying to swipe the shit off of it? Oh my god, I'm telling you, bruh. You humans are fucking stupid. All for the sake of war. Come on, dog. Come on, man.
Dagling's body was transported back to New London to be buried in Cedar Grove.
Somebody got too close to the dude.
The tragic accident that led to Dagling's death sparked a review of safety regulations within the project. One of the major changes was that any similar experiment would require 2 personnel and 2 instruments capable of monitoring and alerting neutron counts. These new rules put in place were thought to reduce the risk of a criticality accident. However, this would not be the case when it came to the soon-to-be nicknamed Demon Core. Just 9 months would go by until the core experienced its second criticality accident. During an experiment nicknamed... Until the core experienced its second criticality.
Oh no, that was the Demon Core, I think. It just has... Okay, so now we got the second victim, or victims, 9 months later. Okay.
During an experiment nicknamed Tickling the Dragon's Tail, so named due to the apparent disregard to standard safety practices. Louis Slotin was a 35-year-old Canadian physicist and chemist, having worked on the Manhattan Project since 1942. He worked on experiments with uranium and plutonium cores to assess their...
Bro, motherfuckers really just shouldn't be doing this. Like, they just... Like, you hear this, and it like, I automatically hear some type of word like plutonium or uranium, and I hear those words, and I'm just like, bro, get the fuck away from that, bro. Don't nobody need to be working on that. Like, I imagine working, I imagine you touching the material. Like, you just being in there, like with a screwdriver, like, oh, man. But I mean, like, it just depends on how bad, like, the concentration is. Because, I mean, there's, like, you know, those types of materials in the soil, in the ground, and everything. I mean, this shit emits some stuff, right? So it's not like we're completely weak or like we're completely clear out here. I mean, there's a lot of radiation going on. I got this monitor right here. I got this right here. I got a camera. I got my phone. I got a hell of radiation. But this motherfucker's working on plutonium and uranium, bro.
Cool mass amount. Needless to say, he was experienced, but possibly he had become complacent. Slotin had become quite the showman when doing experiments, and this had not changed leading up to his planned exit from the Manhattan Project. Slotin had become increasingly unhappy in his involvement in the project. However, he could not leave until a replacement had been trained up. He had been quoted saying, "I am one of the few people left here who are experienced bomb putter togetherness." After leaving the project, Slotin had planned to return to teaching. This brings us to the 21st of May 1946, and at around 3 p.m, Slotin was preparing to demonstrate an experiment to his replacement, 36-year-old Alvin C. Graves. The experiment would involve 2 spheres of beryllium. The 2 parts put together around the core would create a neutron reflector, and the experiment was used to create one of the first steps in a fission reaction. One half of the beryllium sphere had a small hole in the top of it to allow an operator to hold onto it to enable manual lowering, and shims were used to prevent the 2 halves from touching, which would cause a criticality accident. The shims made a rudimentary, albeit effective, method of protection. However, Slotin had developed a unique modification to the experiment. He, instead of using shims, would use a single flat blade screwdriver to separate the 2 half spheres, meaning that during an experiment both hands of the operator would be used, one holding the top half via the hole with their thumb, and the other spacing the sphere with the tip of the screwdriver. Slotin had done the experiment in this fashion several times to observers, even reportedly prompting Enrico Fermi to tell Slotin that he'd be dead within a year if he carried on using this dangerous method. So well known was the...
Okay, but like, you're not... did I miss something there? I must have missed something. I must have just completely dozed off. Why is he using the screwdriver instead of the little black shits that was shown there? Like, why is he not using them shits? Why is he using a screwdriver? What's the big, like, what was the point of that? Is that to save time? That more effect, like, cooler? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you using a screwdriver? I didn't get that part. Maybe
danger
I think
of
I
using a
missed it.
screwdriver, but the experiment got the nickname Tickling the Tail of the Dragon. I think we can see where this is going. During the experiment,
Wait.
got the nick. So well known was the danger of using a screwdriver, but the experiment got the nickname Tickling the Tail of the Dragon. I think we can see where this is going.
So,
During the experiment, around 3:20 p.m, the inevitable happened as the flathead screwdriver slipped in Slotin's right hand, causing the top half sphere to close over the core. The core went supercritical, causing the air around it to ionise, making an eerie blue glow. The intense burst of neutron radiation was released into the room as Slotin experienced a sour taste in his mouth. Slotin's left hand started to burn, immediately causing him to throw his arm in the air, in doing so knocking off the top sphere onto the floor, ending the criticality incident, in total only lasting a couple of seconds. Slotin had prevented any further reaction, and his position over the core had inadvertently shielded the other occupants in the room, including Alvin, who had received a high but not deadly dose of radiation. However, this ensured that Slotin was not so lucky.
Wouldn't the radiation just go through him? You're telling me a body can shield somebody from radiation?
Place where creative
So if I just like jump over one, like and like that's not gonna stop radiation like that, is it? Or, I mean, this is gonna maybe like lower its effects to the rest of the room, like maybe like
gamers go to learn their craft.
like numb it
Slotin
out.
vomited after leaving the laboratory and was immediately hospitalised. His body was covered in blisters and had experienced burns on some of his internal organs in what a doctor would describe as three-dimensional sunburn. 7 days after exposure, Slotin experienced extreme mental confusion, and after his lips went blue, he was placed inside an oxygen tent, eventually slipping into a coma. He died of his exposure with his parents at his side after 9 days, despite having received intensive care. 3 other witnesses to the experiment would remain in hospital after Slotin's tragic death. Alvin Graves developed symptoms of acute radiation sickness, and although surviving, would live with chronic neurological and vision problems. He would continue to work in nuclear testing until his death in 1965 after a heart attack. 1 other personnel member would die around the same time as Graves of leukemia. However, it is impossible to tell for certain due to the demon core. Also, the guard on duty during Daglian's experiment would die at the age of 62, also of leukemia. Sadly, the core took the
Well, I
lives
mean,
of
you could argue there's causation enough, right? Like, I'm sure the leukemia, like you could argue it must have probably had something to do with it.
2 very talented scientists, but it just shows how deadly radiation can be and how complacency, even with the most skilled of operators, is not the most ideal thing around dangerous material. The core's destination was going to be intended for Operation Crossroads after the experiments. However, due to the Slotin criticality incident, some time was needed to re-evaluate the core's effectiveness for use in a bomb. Ironically, it would be due to its criticality incidents that the core would not be used for weapons detonation. Instead, it was melted down for use in other cores. Due to the criticality accident, no more experiments would be done by hand, instead using remotely controlled machines, allowing the operator to be located in a safe room away from radiation. However, this would not completely remove casualties from criticality accidents, but they will be subjects for future videos.
Wow. 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 Right? I mean, America, during the times of the war, I tell you. America in the 40s. All of the 1900s, I mean, let's just give it up for America's showdown. I mean, America is like their like play, like their performance on the world stage in that time period, unbeatable. It's absolutely unbeatable. Like all this shit that played out, my god. That's the greatest threat in any lab is complacency. In order to combat this threat, our lab would rotate scientists into different tasks to keep them fresh. Quite calm after the incident, knowing he just received a lethal dose of radiation, he simply announced, "Well, that does it." Oh shit, he knew. He fucking knew. So if the screwdriver slips, we're dead? Yes. LMAO, let's do it. Such a YOLO, bro. Damn, that's kind of fucking... 9/11. One thing we would constantly remind people of doing their job safety meetings, the people who died most often weren't the newbies, as one might expect, but rather the veteran workers. Newbies are overly cautious and make few mistakes, but veterans can become overly dangerous, and they think, I've done this a million times before, and this time won't be any different. All it takes is one time out of a million. If I remember correctly, the first thing Slayton did after the incident was to bring out all the other planes who run from the room back in and tell them to stand where they were at the moment of the critical incident so he could measure how many years they had left now. Okay. I mean, that'd be quite something. Yeah, what's possibly the most dangerous weapon? Yeah, I was... They named possibly the most dangerous weapon. Named it Rufus. Anyway, man, I'm done, man. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys learned something new here from the Demon Core, or whatever. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you enjoy, and I guess I'll catch you on the next one. I don't know what else to say, really. I mean, I just wanted to switch it up, right? Get some brief history in there. I don't think I've done history yet, so fuck it. Let's go, man.